in life, my people, if we don't have the necessary wisdom, we will live. Life always forgetting that it is a process, wanting only the result of things. And isn't that how it is? If I don't enjoy the process, happiness will not be possible for me. Who was a great follower of Freud, who later created a very unique way of seeing the human psyche. He said precisely that the human being, he stays alive to the extent that he is fed by a desire. If we don't desire, if we stop desiring, we slowly die. Yes, because for him, desire is a vital impulse that keeps us alive. It is that inner movement that makes us have the will to wake up every day, to go to work, to live, to do what we need to do, because a desire feeds us. What did I say? When we experience the satisfaction of desire, there may even be a certain frustration. Then we will discover that the best thing about desire was building it, and not so much as fulfillment. That's where that popular saying comes from. The best thing about the party is waiting for it. Yes, the experience of cultivating it. You can call my desire something else. You can say it another way. Viktor Frankl called it the meaning of life. When do you keep it alive? The meaning of things, of existence, of what makes you who you are. You begin to savor the process that is not just a result. The meaning of life, not the meaning of life. It may even lead me to some results. But I don't always get results from what I do. But I need to find satisfaction there in what I do. It's preparing. Just like the meaning of the word hope. Hope, it's not a stagnant concept, not ready because I wait. I say there I'm waiting. But does it mean that while I'm waiting, I'm building what I hope for? There's also a procedural dimension. You're not with your hands crossed, arms crossed, waiting for what you want to happen. That's why, in Christian hope, it's an operative hope, a concept that we get from a philosopher. The philosopher, no, a Protestant theologian, even multi-MM. He said, in a sophisticated way, that Christian hope is operative. That is, I operate while I wait. I build what I'm waiting for. But while I wait, I prepare, because hope is operative. It is. But how do I prepare? By living well. It's by living well that we prepare eternity. Stop being so anxious about wanting to know what it will be like after death. Is taking care of your life the only way you can prepare for death? It is the fairest, most honest way you can look at your eternity, at what awaits you. It is by living well in the present moment. That is why we cannot understand a religion that makes us despise time and space. For a long time, some spiritualities will prevail that teach people to despise. It makes no sense, my people. The world that Jesus was referring to. You are in the world, but you are not of the world. This expression of Jesus to his apostles was not for them to despise the things of the world. It was not for them to know that this world is temporary. This house is temporary. Peeking at this material that we are using to make this program reach you is temporary. This television that you have there in front of you, through which we enter, through which we pass, is temporary. Money is fleeting, success is there. Jesus is teaching that there is an interesting way to deal with time and space. Okay, I have it, but I will not cling to what I have, because all of this passes. It is the same as attachment to people. I know that it is very difficult for us to lose someone, but our excessive suffering and loss is precisely because we do not learn. We do not learn that people will also be fleeting in our lives. We may even know, but we did not learn. It is like music. We know the lesson by heart, and all we can do is learn it. Yes, there are many things that we know by heart, but we still haven't learned. Maybe if we had been educated since we were little, to understand death as a natural process in our lives, we would have less difficulty when it happened to us. But sometimes the lack of spirituality, the lack of inner life makes us too attached to matter and people. We are our difficulties because we are Westerners. We are too attached to time, space, and we want to understand eternity from the limits that we have. As a professor of eschatology, I had to talk about everything that the church says about heaven, hell, purgatory. But I had an additional challenge, which was not just to let my students reproduce what the church teaches about, because sometimes catechesis can once again be a contest of excess materiality. So the sermon comes to me talking about heaven, talking about eternity, and it can suggest to me again speaking of heaven, speaking of eternity, and she can suggest to me again a reinforcement that it is material. Heaven is material. Heaven is localized. Heaven is in time and space. So, my challenge as a teacher was that we know how to speak the language without getting stuck. Is eternity much more of a hope than a closed concept? Okay, I hope. But what I hope for, I don't know. But I live well to wait. And, by the way, the best way to prepare. There is no other way. If I am attentive to the processes that will be me, my professional life, my emotional life, and then you can unfold what you do and everything that you have in your daily demands. If you propose to live well in everything that you do, and what is living well, my people? It's about being correct, being fair. You have to understand that it doesn't make sense for you to be instrumental in injustice in the world. Like we had last week, that massacre of 2 boys, one 17 years old, the other 25. To think that these 2 boys chose to determine their lives, destroying other lives? That happened overnight, didn't it? Because this is gradually being sown within us. We don't know their personal history, so it's not even up to us to judge. You might even be outraged. You might think, my God, how is a person capable of doing this? Yes, it may be that you would also be able to do the same thing if you had gone through the same paths they did. I am not justifying anyone. I am just alerting you to the need that we may have to perceive things more. For example, start to allow hatred to live inside you. Start to allow revenge to be lodged inside you. Let revenge, hatred, and resentment start to give orders to your actions. Yes, because my attitudes, they are all ordered by what I always think. Or do you think that your attitude is misplaced? No, it is always a fruit of what you thought and felt. It does everything in the same place. It is inside the brain that all this happens. Is in the mind? Sometimes we use the heart. It is not to symbolize love, feelings, yes, it is a problem for you to symbolize, but this is where everything happens, thoughts and feelings. They are what give order to my actions. Everything that comes out of me as an attitude, as a gesture, is the fruit of my thoughts and feelings. And that is why I need to be very careful with what I think, with what I feel, and consequently, with what I do. Because the room is precisely the expression of what you are feeling and thinking. If I do not take care of my people, of what I think, I decide. Suddenly I start to feed. Joao Paulo is here. Good evening, Joao Paulo. Thank you for your presence. If suddenly Joao Paulo is part of my emotional environment, I live with him. I start to harbor a hatred for Joao Paulo inside me, sometimes for no reason, and you know that this is possible. Sometimes you get annoyed with someone, you get angry with them, and you don't know exactly why. You didn't look for the reasons for this annoyance, for this difficulty with that person, and you start to harbor a bad feeling toward Joao Paulo. I start to feed my thought, wow, I would so much like Joao Paulo to be fired from his job, for it not to work out. I find out that he is fighting for something, and there in the silence of my heart, I start to think that I would be very happy if it didn't work out. I am sure that I am speaking here, and you are identified with what I am saying. Do you know why? Because we are all the same. At some point our thoughts have turned us against someone, even if it was without reason, and sometimes there's a reason too. What I'm saying is that if you feed what you think about that person, and if you're feeding a thought that is harmful, that is bad, that is damaging, that is unfair, then naturally that thought unfolds into a feeling of aversion, or sometimes it is even the opposite. It starts with a feeling of aversion, and then you start to think bad things. Do you feed this inside you? If I feed it in the example I'm giving, yours starts to feed my feeling. From meal to Joao Paulo. And my thought of wanting Joao Paulo to do badly, for Joao Paulo to die, for Joao Paulo to be harmed, I am one step away from being able to make a concrete gesture which will harm Paulo's life. Could it be priests? Many monsters inhabit us, my people. That is why I look. I tell you, we look at these people who are capable of killing, who are capable of murdering other people, and we think we are so different from them. It starts to feed the hatred inside your heart for you to see. Start to feed the revenge, and suddenly you find it normal to pick up a gun and end that person's life. Start to feed the feelings that are diabolical to you. A period of time, I don't know how long, 2,345 months, sometimes a month. Time 23,345 months, sometimes a year, you will be able, yes, to take that person's life because the devil has lodged himself in your thoughts and feelings. Is that why the word, sometimes it is so deceptive? Sometimes a person says something to you, a word that expresses kindness, but the word is already at work. It is already cunning. It already tries to deceive me because it is already at the service of an evil thought, of an evil feeling. I always say this: give your feelings and your thoughts a break, and the devil will be part of your life. He will start to be part of yours. I have never seen that story of demonic possession. I have never seen what is shown in the movies. Now I see the devil lodge in the minds of many people all the time, who are articulating evil, who have no responsibility towards others. Are they dishonest? Are they unjust? Yes, there they are. The devil is having space to act in the world through that person. So let's just recap. My attitude is a result of what I think, of what I feel. Am I feeding thoughts? Bad ones. Unjust ones. Then you think, all those bad ones? Lies, infidelity, evil. If my thoughts are feeding these inside me, they are then judging the feelings that are also bad, which will put me in opposition. That will put me in a position in relation to other people. And without realizing it, I become an instrument. I say it again, I'm talking here. Are you thinking? Of course, it's good like that. The program only makes sense if it makes us think. I'm sure you've already identified this in yourself or in that evil person at work who is always articulating against other people, or that person who's become a dwelling place of dishonesty. They are capable of anything to maintain their interests. They are capable of stepping all over others. She is capable of causing harm and doesn't even worry. She cheats here. She cheats there. She deceives one person and someone else cheats there. That's a child's position because we weren't born to do that. But at some point in life, whether it's during our formative process in early childhood, when we are so fragile, when we are not able to reflect on our thoughts and feelings, because we still don't know what is right or wrong, if there is no one there to help us purify what we are feeling and thinking with very practical phrases, my son, that can't happen. Because children, my friends, they don't hide what they think and feel. So much so that in many moments, how many times does a 34-year-old child say, "I'm going to kill you"? Why does he yell that to his mother, who is being contradicted? We may think, but is that so innocent? It is a child's thing, yes. If there is no correction there, in that loving, affectionate moment, my son, never say that again, because it is very ugly to kill someone, so that she can begin to understand, so that that language does not create within her a disposition to future thought and future feeling that when someone contradicts me, it is fair that I can mark them. I can kill if we do not have someone guiding us, my people, be it a father, a mother, a grandmother, a grandfather, an uncle, a brother, a neighbor. If we are not at the stage where we do not have this filter of right and wrong, if we do not have someone to help us understand what we feel, what we think, we become Tarazazaz. We will potentially be those who invaded the school. Is it all over? And when did that crime begin? One that day. The day before? The justice system has already concluded that it was a premeditated crime. Yes, but a week before. 2 months ago, no. That started in the childhood of those boys, when the essential was denied to them. The essential, when it is denied to us, it leaves a huge hole. A child is not born to be abandoned. He is not born to fail. Now, what we do with him contributes precisely to that nature, sometimes malicious, that he has. Grow. You can say that we also do not have the syndrome inside us. We do. Neglect yourself, and you will see a monster that you become. I always say this. We who are religious, we who have lived an experience of God, who publicly say this to others. I am saying that it is the one who does not say no to live. I'm saying that, in my case, can you imagine how contradictory it would be if behind the scenes I were a malicious person? If I didn't have the capacity to recognize my mistakes? If I knowingly harmed John Paul, even though he is a priest, this happens. A religious shell to hide shameful evils, like the priests who were accused of pedophilia, sexual abuse of people who go looking for them, or other religious leaders, priests, pastors, lay people who exercise religious authority over someone in abuse. It goes beyond that. and evil, my people who are protected by religiosity. That's what I'm saying. If I don't take care of my feelings and thoughts, purifying them daily, asking God and others for forgiveness, I become a monster. Yes, you have the potential to be a saint. You do. But you also have the potential to be one. And isn't that the case with you? That's why you need to be very attentive to what you feel, what you think, and consequently what you say, so that you don't become an obstacle to yourself, so that you don't become a monster, so that you can gather from yourself only the best that you have. That's what I wish from the bottom of my heart, that you stay attentive to the paths that you discover, because it is also a place, the path is a place, that needs to be savored, that needs to be pea. I have a 2-hour bus ride. Even my work takes a book. You will have the opportunity to read much more than someone who does not have a 2-hour bus ride. Instead of being stuck on your cell phone all the time, take it. Is it possible to read a book a week for someone who has a 2-hour bus ride every day? Discover the habit of reading. Walk the paths that the book provides you. Do something positive in that routine that is sometimes heavy, and may God bless us in this purpose. May our paths be transformed into places, because the hopes of the reasons increasingly build the time we have, the eternal reality. One day we want to enjoy. Pour upon us the blessing and protection of He is. Almighty God, Father, Holy Spirit. Until next week, if God wants.